There's something different about people who colored margarine yellow as children. In a world where food comes pre-colored, pre-packaged and ready to eat, these individuals experience the most hands-on relationship with food production and transformation in modern history, and it shaped their psychology in ways that created the most resourceful and food-conscious generation ever to exist. Let's start with something that sounds absurd, but was kitchen reality. Picture yourself at 6 years old in 1944. Your mother opens a package of margarine, and it's pure white, like lard or shortening. She hands you a tiny packet of orange yellow powder and says, "We need to make this look like butter." For the next 10 minutes, you're going to knead and mix and work that white margarine until it transforms into something that looks like the real thing. But this wasn't just about appearance. This was about understanding that food doesn't naturally come in the form you expect it, that the yellow color of butter comes from cows eating green grass, and when you can't afford butter, you have to create that color yourself. You were learning about food chemistry, color psychology, and the difference between natural and artificial in ways that most children never experience. Think about what happened to your developing brain during those margarine coloring sessions. Every squeeze of that white mass was a lesson in food transformation. Every drop of yellow coloring was an understanding that appearance affects appetite. Every moment of kneading was training in the patience required to turn raw ingredients into finished food. Your mother would explain while you worked. Real butter is expensive because it comes from cream, and cream comes from cows, and cows need feed we can't spare during the war. But margarine comes from vegetable oil, which we can make here at home. The yellow color makes it look like butter, so it tastes better to us, even though it's really the same thing either way. This created what food psychologists call ingredient awareness processing. Children who colored margarine developed an understanding that food is made, not just found. That appearance influences taste perception. That substitutes can be satisfying when you understand what you're substituting and why. But here's what made this experience psychologically profound. Coloring margarine wasn't just a wartime chore. It was a family activity that taught lessons about economics, chemistry, psychology, and resourcefulness all at the same time. You were learning that expensive doesn't always mean better, that appearance matters for enjoyment, and that a little effort can transform something basic into something special. The margarine coloring process also became a lesson in precision and patience. Too little coloring and the margarine looked pale and unappealing. Too much coloring and it looked artificial and strange. Just the right amount required careful attention and gradual adjustment. You were developing what would become lifelong skills in careful measurement and process improvement. This developed what behavioral economists call labor value correlation psychology. When you work to improve something, you value it more highly than if it came to you already improved. The margarine you colored yourself tasted better than margarine someone else had colored, not because it was actually different, but because your effort was invested in its creation. Now imagine spreading your freshly colored margarine on a piece of bread for lunch. It looks almost exactly like butter, but you know it's not. You know the work that went into making it look this way. You know the economic reasons why your family chose this alternative. You're not being fooled by the appearance. You're appreciating the effort and intelligence that created the appearance. This taught you something profound about the relationship between authenticity and satisfaction. The colored margarine wasn't trying to trick anyone into thinking it was butter. Everyone knew it was margarine. The yellow color was about making an economical choice more psychologically satisfying, not about deception. You learned that there's nothing wrong with making substitutes more appealing when you're honest about what they are. That presentation matters for enjoyment. That a little extra effort can make necessary compromises feel like positive choices rather than unfortunate limitations. But the psychological impact went deeper than just food preparation. Coloring margarine taught you about the role of color in appetite and satisfaction. You noticed that the yellow margarine tasted better to your family than the white margarine, even though you knew the only difference was the coloring. You were learning about the psychology of perception and expectation. This created what sensory psychologists call expectation-satisfaction alignment. You understood that people enjoy food more when it looks like what they expect it to look like. That appearance affects taste through psychological pathways, not just chemical ones. That managing expectations can improve experiences even when the underlying product remains the same. The margarine coloring ritual also became part of your family's weekly routine. Someone had to remember to buy the coloring packets. Someone had to take the time to do the mixing. Someone had to judge when the color was right. This wasn't just food preparation, It was family cooperation around a shared domestic responsibility. You learned that maintaining a household requires everyone's participation in tasks that might seem small but add up to significant improvements in daily life. That taking care of each other sometimes means taking extra steps to make basic necessities more pleasant and appealing. But perhaps most importantly, coloring margarine taught you about creativity within constraints. You couldn't have butter, but you could make margarine look and feel more like butter. You couldn't change your economic circumstances, but you could improve the psychological experience of those circumstances through effort and ingenuity. This developed what creativity researchers call constraint-based innovation psychology. Instead of being discouraged by limitations, you learned to find creative solutions within those limitations. Instead of accepting that substitutes must feel like compromises, you learned that substitutes can be improved through personal investment and attention. Years passed, the war ended, butter became available again. But something from those margarine coloring sessions stayed with you forever. An understanding that food is more than just nutrition, it's psychology and chemistry and family activity all combined. That appearance affects satisfaction in ways that go beyond superficial vanity. Decades later, you're still the person who understands that presentation matters for enjoyment. Who knows that a little extra effort in food preparation can transform a meal from adequate to satisfying? Who appreciates both authentic ingredients and skillful substitutes when substitutes are what's available or affordable? When younger people dismiss generic or store-brand products without trying them, you understand something they don't. That quality comes from careful selection and proper preparation, not just from expensive packaging. That understanding what you're re-eating and why you chose it matters more than eating only the most premium options. Now imagine trying to explain to your grandchildren what it was like when margarine came white and you had to color it yourself. How that 10 minutes of kneading wasn't a chore, but a lesson in food science, family economics, and the psychology of satisfaction. How making substitutes more appealing wasn't deception, but intelligence. This isn't nostalgia for more labor-intensive food preparation. This is recognition of a fundamentally different relationship with food, effort, and satisfaction. You learned that understanding your ingredients makes you appreciate your meals more. That personal involvement in food preparation creates psychological investment in food enjoyment. When modern society struggles with processed food, disconnection, waste, and inability to appreciate simple ingredients, you carry solutions in your experience. You know that the work you put into food affects how much you enjoy it. That understanding food processes makes you a more conscious consumer and a more satisfied eater. Your margarine coloring childhood taught you that food is chemistry, psychology, economics, and family activity all at once. That substitutes don't have to feel like sacrifices when you understand and improve them. That appearance matters for satisfaction, and that small efforts can create significant improvements in daily experience. Those kitchen sessions with white margarine and yellow coloring weren't just wartime necessities. They were masterclasses in food consciousness, resource optimization, and the psychology of satisfaction that shaped how you approach cooking, shopping, and eating for the rest of your life. Drop a comment and share your margarine coloring memory. Do you remember the little packets of yellow coloring? Who in your family did the mixing? How did it taste compared to butter? Do you still pay attention to food preparation and presentation today? And if this resonated with you, hit like and subscribe, because we dive deep into the psychology that explains how your unique childhood food experiences shaped the remarkable food wisdom and resourcefulness you carry today. See you next time.